evening, everybody. My name is Julie Ann Peterson, and I'm a senior director at Old Capital Lending. We are a premier provider of debt for mostly multifamily. We closed $1.2 billion last year. It was a wonderful year, and we see about 60% of our business is in bridge lending. So if you're not familiar with bridge, I'd love to take you through how do you get it done. Again, we look at other asset classes. We'll look at storage, and we'll look at office retail, look at mobile home parks, anything that is outside of single family. We start at 1 million loan amount and 5 units. So if you're looking at a deal, we'd love to be considered your provider of debt. We are a relationship lender. We work on behalf of our clients to make sure that it's the right fit. We've got thousands of lenders, and not all lenders are created equal. So if you think, well, I'm going to save a 1% origination fee, the problem with doing that is if you're under contract and you're going direct and that lender cannot execute, now you're in the middle of a contract that you're not going to be able to deliver, and you run the risk of losing your earnest money deposit. So I'm happy to take a look at your T12 and rent roll. Also, we do things differently, at least I do at Old Capital. I help provide sponsorship, insurance brokers, attorneys. A lot of my partners come here to help you take down deals. So if you're looking for a sponsor, I've got a couple in the house tonight, so I'm hoping that you'll be able to spend some time after we listen to our speaker tonight. Jens Nielsen is really going to be helpful to us in the breakout sessions. If you want to make contact with our sponsors, that is also helpful. Tonight, I asked Jens Nielsen, who immigrated from Denmark in 1996, and after a successful career in IT, he followed his passion of real estate and coaching and is now a full-time real estate investor and coach. He's currently a general partner in over 1,100 apartment units across the country that are valued at $100 million. His investments range from growth markets like Atlanta and Phoenix to cash flow markets like Albuquerque, Cleveland, and Erie. Jens is passively invested in 16 syndications in private investments, spanning over 800 apartment units, 2,000 mobile home parks, and over 6,000 storage units, plus mortgage notes that he funds and private money lending. My gosh. So his mission is to get more people to invest, and his company's mission is to open doors to your secure financial future through multifamily investing. Jens is passionate about teaching and helping others achieve success. He is a certified high-performance coach and uses his knowledge and skills to coach and train new students. In fact, he has coached over 50 students. He lives in New Mexico with his dogs. Right now he's in Tucson, and he is looking for his next deal. He also enjoys being outdoors, whether it's skiing or biking or really hiking. I am so excited to have Jens. I met him earlier, actually last year, and I was really impressed, not only because he's a cyclist and I have my cycling background that I used to race as well, but I was really interested in his demeanor. He's so approachable. He's so easy to talk to, and he's been so successful. I wanted to share him. And as you've heard me say before, when I meet somebody, they're like peanut butter. I just want to spread them around. And that's what I wanted to do with Jens. I appreciate you, Jens, coming on your little vacation to Tucson. So I want to welcome you to our audience here. If everybody would be so kind to go up to the right-hand side of your screen, there is a thing that says view. Let's give Jens all of our attention because he has a lot to say. So again, Jens, welcome to Zoom at 8. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well, Julie. Thanks for the intro. I'm super excited to be here. And yeah, I think we met, it was in July last year, right? And
Yeah.
actually, I think my bio that I sent you need to be updated. We're actually at over 1,500 units now. We closed 9 deals last year. So that was kind of a big year for us. And we're already kind of looking at a handful more deals this year. So super excited and so blessed for this opportunity to speak tonight and also this amazing community. So am I able to share my screen? Because I have a few slides here I want to
Sure.
kind of go through. And remind me, how much time do I have? I don't want to be
So
in
we
here for
have
too
usually about
long.
about 30 minutes. And then if
Okay,
we've got some time, we need 5 minutes or so for question and answers. That'd be
perfect.
great.
Sounds good. All right. So thanks, everybody. Yeah, as Julie said, I'm a certified high performance coach. There's a little bit about, oh, there we go. A little bit about me. She mentioned a lot of this stuff. And, a few years ago, I decided to go from IT to multifamily real estate investing. Why? Well, I realized that if I stayed in my job, I had a comfortable life. I could do this for, the rest of my working career. But I also realized I didn't have a meaningful way of impacting my income. I was working on somebody else's dream, and it was all about their dream and what they wanted to accomplish versus what I wanted to do. So I discovered real estate investing. I got so, excited and enamored about it that I just jumped full into it. Now, I've been doing it for about 6 years now. I was able to retire from my job last year, and I'm, as you mentioned, doing real estate investing full time and coaching, and I really loved it. I looked back on my 2021 accomplishments, if you will, and I did 560 coaching calls last year. So I've done a lot of this. I love it. It's super exciting, and it gives me location independence and that freedom to do stuff. So I'm in Tucson this week to enjoy some sun with my wife and our dogs. So that's super fun. And I recognize some people on there. Hi, Ed. Good to see you again. So, today it's a little bit about goal setting. And one of the things that we need to talk about today is just this thing about being strategic around it. It's easy to throw out numbers and say, hey, I want 10,000 units or $50,000 cash flow, whatever that is. But we need to take a step back and think about the why behind it. Why is this important to us? Because numbers and dollars doesn't really mean anything unless it's connected to something bigger. And in this case, the thing we want to connect it to is really it's a vision. It's a vision of who we want to be. And this session is not about creating a vision. I did that with my coaching group a couple of weeks ago, and I'm happy to share that recording to anybody who sends me an email later. So vision is first, goals comes next. But the idea about a vision, I'll give you just a quick rundown on it and why that's important, is we need to have clarity of what are the experiences we want in life, how do we want to grow personally, and what is the way we want to contribute. If we get clear on those things, the goals come naturally behind that. So I encourage everybody to spend some time in their vision and then start creating goals that will fulfill that vision, that will come in behind and really build up to that amazing life you want, right? Because as I mentioned, a number of units or a dollar amount doesn't really mean anything if it's not connected to something deeper. So I'm going to actually share some tools and techniques that have helped my clients, that has helped me to get from, a 27-year IT career to doing multifamily real estate investing and coaching full time. So the key thing here, and actually, bring your papers out, take some notes and everything else. But the key thing in our lives here is to eliminate distractions and gain focus. So, here's this poor guy working at his computer, and there's, LinkedIn and Facebook and email and everything else coming at him. That is the biggest time suck we all have in our lives. If we let other people's agendas, if we let all these different communication tools distract us and steal our time, we will never reach our goals. One of the key things we always work in the coaching is to become extremely productive, figure out what's important, figure out how to do it correctly and the right time. And I'll share some things I have done personally towards the end of this slideshow. Then the other thing is, as focus. What is it we truly want? What is the most important thing we need to achieve every single day? Be clear and aware of that. And then, make some notes, write it down. For example, every morning I sit down and plan out my day, old-fashioned pen and paper, because that works well for me. We have to have that focus and that daily intention to really get the goal, create the goals that we want. So basically, so again, the vision I talked about, figure out how to break that vision into action, right? My personal vision is around, obviously being a coach, creating an amazing real estate business, but I'm really focused on working with the right people, working with people that I enjoy being around, working with people that will challenge me. I can challenge them, and together we can grow. And I never really experienced that. Well, I didn't experience much of that in the corporate world, because most people are just in there to earn a paycheck, and they would just go home, and it wasn't really beyond that. So when I got involved in the real estate world, like, man, people here actually want to do something amazing. They want to build something, wealth for their families. They want to help their communities. They want to help their tenants. They want to improve properties and neighborhoods and everything. That was so exciting to me, right? So then that's a piece of my vision. The other part is that coaching part, which is really helping people improve their lives, both personally and in their business, their family, with their family, with their kids, with their spouses, in their communities. Be happy every day, really achieve things that are meaningful to us. So that was that. So based upon that vision that we have, we need to break it into action. And here's a few quotes that I really love to share here. A goal without a plan is only a dream, from Brian Tracy, one of the big personal development gurus out there. Another one, a goal can only be reached through a vehicle of a plan, which must be fervently believed and upon which we must vigorously act. There are no other routes to success. That was from Picasso wrote that. And the final one, with no goals, no priorities, no strategy of our own, we drift with the herd through an endless meadow of bureaucracy, unable to break loose to achieve even a small part of our dreams, which we once cherished, from Og Mandino. So those are some of my favorite quotes there that reminds me that, we need to have goals. We need to have specific action to move forward. So it's a necessity to have strategic goal planning, because I don't know what people's backgrounds are. Again, I came from the corporate world. No, a lot of people that I've worked with have come from that world. They didn't start out as real estate investors. They got that itch later on. I envy the young people who start, in their 20s doing this, but I wasn't there. I'm 50 this year, so I was in my mid 40s before I got started, but that's okay. But it creates a challenge for us when we suddenly have to create our own future, because we were quite often, our bosses would set our goals. If we're young, maybe our parents would do it, even our spouses. So who set goals for in the past? And if we think back on that, it actually removed responsibility away from us. If we just go into the office and said, okay, boss, what am I supposed to do? Maybe not quite as literal as that, but if that was all set from the top down, we never had to develop that habit of the goal planning. We didn't have to develop the discipline or even that responsibility to ourselves and our own future. And there's a saying out there that a lot of people will spend more time planning their vacation than they will spend planning their lives, their future. There's also all these stories about, people that have done planning and they check back on them. Some of those are just myths, but in reality, having any kind of plan is a lot better than none. And over the holidays, so, between Christmas and New Year last year, I basically just took those 5 days to cancel, to not have any coaching calls, very few meetings, although we did close a deal on the 28th of December, so I had to do that. But I cleared my calendar and I really sat down and think, okay, I need that space. I need that quiet to really think about what I want next year. And some interesting things came up that I hadn't even really thought about, but creating that space really helped me to get the clarity of what not only 2022, but the next 5 years are going to look like for me. So I'm going to share some of that as well today. and this is one thing that's really important too. You know, if you're not clear on your goals, other people will make their goals yours. So another thing that a lot of people are probably guilty of, if they're not clear about what they want to do and have to do today, they'll open their email and say, oh, maybe there's an email implying that I'm too lazy to figure out what I should do today. So I'm going to read an email for somebody and work on somebody else's agenda. So that's an important thing. Think a lot about how you handle email and so forth. So be ahead of everybody else by planning. All right. So again, this thing, and I mentioned, I've talked about a couple of times, what comes first, you know, vision or goals. Really, the vision comes first. And the key thing here is really that idea of high performers versus high achievers. You guys have probably all met high achievers. Those are the people that they always have something they're working on, the next business opportunity, the next deal, the next $1 million or $1 billion opportunity, but they never stop to examine why are they doing this, and everything else doesn't give any priorities. So for example, their families, their health, their relationships, their community, everything else pushed aside for that relentless pursuit towards achievement. Not that there's anything wrong in achieving things, but if you forget everything else, you're going to end up probably unhealthy, maybe broken relationships, maybe just not really having achieved your potential. So that's why we step back and look at high performers, which perform highly both in their personal lives, in their businesses, in their jobs, if they have that, with their relationships, with their personal development, with their health. And that's really a well-balanced life. And I think a happy life is a well-balanced life. Yes, we can work really, really hard, but we also need to slow down and create space and take time, right? So as I mentioned, as Julie mentioned, I'm in Tucson this week. I live in New Mexico. I went down here just to get down to the sun a little bit, go ride my mountain bike for a bit. I'm still working, but I took that chance to, you know, maybe work quite a little bit less this week compared to normal and so forth. So that's a way for me to create that balance, because otherwise I would also just work as hard as I can and just put as many hours into it. All right, so, you know, I know we're about 30 some people on this. I would love to hear from a couple of people if they are willing to just kind of open up and share what are their vision, what is their amazing vision for that person's life. So if you can just go ahead and unmute yourself and take a stab at it.
I'll go.
Go ahead.
Candace, you're up. Awesome. I knew I could
All
count
right.
on you.
So, actually, my vision and my big why into multifamily, it keeps expanding in a beautiful way. And so my wife and I, she's a life coach as well, we are going to create a life oasis center that includes an animal sanctuary, a sculpture park, and just a learning center to reconnect you with nature, so you can connect to yourself and then therefore find your vision and your passion. And we have various different things that we're going to do to help people connect and do that, because for some that's a very abstract thought. And then with that, just continue to expand and add more programs to the place.
I love that, Candace. I mean, I actually got goosebumps listening to that. That was well articulated and powerful. And really, I'm sure you felt some strong emotions there too. So when you think about your vision, when you describe your vision, if it doesn't elicit emotions in yourself and in others, it's probably not powerful enough. But definitely, I mean, Candace, I love that. I love animals. I love the outdoors. So it connected very well with me. So I'm going to have to come visit it once it's up and running.
Absolutely. Everyone's invited.
Very good. Does anybody else want to share?
I will share.
Yannick, you're on.
Okay, perfect. So I've been an entrepreneur since I was 20 years old. And so W-2s to me are not very familiar. So I was always part of a hustle most of my life. Hustling, working hard. making it work, learning everything from scratch because I never had a mentor. Wish I did. Now I'm in my 40s. I made drastic changes to get out of the one entrepreneurship and jump right into the real estate entrepreneur world, which is much, much better than what I was previously doing. I did it for family reasons. One day I'll share my story. Not right now, but I did it for very, very deep reasons that are close to my heart. It was really for my family. And I just completely left my old business, jumped into real estate, never looked back. And it was a great, great, great decision. So that is my why. It's my daughter, my son, my family, and giving back to the cause that is near and dear to my heart in a big way. And so, yes, that's my story.
All right, Yannick, appreciate that. And again, right, that elicited strong emotions in you. I connected with that, right, because that's some of the things that are important to me. I'm from one of the key things, I'm from Denmark, and I won't guess which European country you're from, but
it's easy, very easy.
But a key thing for me, I've been here for 25 years. And I still want to have the opportunity to go back and not just go for like a quick week of quote unquote vacation. I'm going back to Europe for a month in April. That would never have been possible with my W-2 job, right? So this is another key powerful thing for me, getting that location independence to be able to do things that wasn't possible for me for the last 25 years of my life. So thanks for sharing that too. Take one more person that want to share their vision. I'd love to hear that as well.
I'll share.
Casey.
Hi, my name is Casey with One Vision Capital, and got to know Julie about a year ago. She invited us to lunch. I got into real estate about 8 years ago through single family, and got the bug after I bought 3 houses and rented them out and started realizing what the potential was. And my why is my family. I really want to help my mom to retire. She was unable to do that and is still working at an age where she shouldn't be. And really want to help my wife to be able to do that at a decent time in our lives as well. And so we, our vision, I learned a long time ago how to do something called vision mapping. And I took a course in it. And so I knew that when I realized that multifamily was the route that I wanted to take, I started mapping that out and actually with a course that I wanted to follow. And I've come pretty close. We just got on our first deal on the GP side with a company that I'm thrilled to be working with. And so it's exciting. I feel like we are achieving something, and my partner Melissa Elizondo is doing a great job with the marketing. So we're following a plan, and my why is my family, and that I want to achieve something to show my children that you can achieve anything too. I mean that's absolutely essential.
Very good. Thanks for sharing. I really appreciate that. So thanks for everybody for doing that. And the rest that we didn't obviously have a chance to talk to everybody. If you haven't created visions that are as clear as these people who shared, make sure you spend some time on doing that. All right, let's move on then. Thanks again for everybody. So some of the areas we need to consider when we are planning is the first, and most people think, oh, I need to start with my business. No. Let's think about our personal growth. Let's talk about our the area of personal improvement first. So, our physical, what do we want to do to stay healthy physically? Exercise, diet, and so forth. What are we doing mentally? What are we doing to recover? And that's one of the key things we talk about coaching is mental vibrancy. What are you doing to recover on a daily, weekly, monthly, annual, and yearly basis? Are you taking time to just be in nature or be still? Are you taking time to meditate, to journal, to consider, what's going on in your life. Emotionally, how emotionally aware are you? How emotionally intelligent are you? Do you react to things, or do you have a balanced way to react to control your emotions? Think about that too, and so forth. And then spiritually, if you're a religious person, what does that mean to you? If you're not religious, what other ways can you connect to potentially a higher power, to the law of attraction, whatever that may be? So think about all these areas. And also the thing about planning is there's really two types of way we plan. One is process goals, which are, hey, I'm going to go to the gym 5 days a week. There's no end point in mind. We just do it 5 times a week, whatever that is. Or it could be, hey, I'm going to journal every morning, or meditate, whatever that is. That's a process goal. That's something we continue to do without a certain outcome. And then there are outcome goals. Those are specific goals saying, hey, I want to close X number of multifamily deals in 2022 with a average cash flow or whatever, something that you can measure, and you can go back and say, okay, December 31st of 2022, did I accomplish it or not, right? So those process goal and outcome goals. So make sure you have a combination of those. What about relationship? What kind of relationship do you want to have with your family, in your household, with your spouse or significant other? What kind of relationship do you want to have with your friends? And one of the key things, we all got separated during COVID. I have spent a lot of time thinking about how can I reconnect with friends, rebuild those friendships that were distant during that period. And I moved as well, so that didn't make it easier. But that's a deliberate thing of my 2022 and onwards, is to really build it. What is the team you have? Your real estate team, whatever you're working with. What are the people you want to have on your team? How do you all connect? How do you complement each other? What is the community you want to build? Is that a community in your team, your real estate team? Is that a community where you live? Is it a broader community like what we are part of here, from all over the country and even Canada? What is that? Who are the people you want to surround yourself with? Be intentional around all these things, because if you are not, then we just tend to react and do things based upon the people get thrown into our lives, whether they align with our goals or not. And then finally, around our business and career, what is your ideal career if you're still in your W-2 job? If you are building a business, is this a business of, hey, I'm running this as an independent operator, am I partner with people as needed? Or am I building, a huge corporation that's going to employ a lot of people? There's no right or wrong answer. You just got to connect with what's important to you, so you intentionally can build towards that. Again, as I mentioned, how much by when, that was the thing, how many deals, how many units, or how much cash flow do you want? And also connect with this thing about contribution, which is really key in the vision side of things. A lot of people say, okay, I want to be a philanthropist, which is kind of a lazy answer if you ask me, because that just say, oh, one day when I have enough money, I'm going to donate millions of dollars to charity. You don't have to do that. You can already contribute in many different ways. I had a coaching call with somebody today, and we realized that, well, his contribution right now could be as little as just, he owns a restaurant in addition to being in the real estate world, say, I'm just contributing some money every month to my employees that are doing a great job. Well, $100 to somebody that's on a lower income, that's a huge difference in that person's life, right? So that's how he's contributing. So there's many ways we can contribute wherever we are in life. So think about that really early on. So those are the areas to consider when you are planning: personal growth, relationship, and your business career. Add additional categories as you see fit and needed here. All right. So then what? So this is a kind of a strategic way of doing it. It's like a 5-year breakdown of your goal. So I filled this in. I didn't, fill it in with too much text, but I know what's really important to me in 2022, and I'll talk about it in the next slide a little bit more detail. And then 5 years from now, there's some things that really connected with me on personal side, sabbaticals beyond what I'm doing today, meditation, transcendence. I don't know what that means, but I have this awareness of even more stillness, of more meditation, going to another level of my mental and spiritual side that I don't even know what that's going to look like, but I know I have 5 years to think about, to work towards it and get there. My relationship, Karen, that's my wife, exit her from her job, community, connected friendships. So it's not very specific, but these are high level concepts around where I want to achieve, right? My professional goals. So for example, this year, a CHPT, that's Certified High Performance Coaching, a key thing we're putting on this Pay It Forward event. So we're doing this, and I'll put some stuff at the end here, in Denver, March 18th to 20th. We're putting on a mastermind, a networking event for probably investors that doesn't have 10,000 units and can afford the really high-end masterminds, but somebody that's just getting going in the business and they really want to start connecting with people. So this is something I've been working on, and we're launching it. So that's a huge thing of mine. But it's also my goal 5 years from now. I am going to continue building this and so forth. Now, if we think, actually, I'm not going to do this because we're going to run out of time. So really what you guys should recommend is go back and spend at least 2 hours to plan your goals. If you're already used to it, maybe not so much, but start thinking about these categories I mentioned before. I'm also a Jack Canfield coach, and he breaks it up a little bit differently. He has 7 categories he uses: business, job and career, financial, relationship, health and fitness, fun time and recreation, personal, contribution, and legacy, right? So you can also create goals in these. They overlap, but make sure you do it well-rounded, not just business goals, not just personal goal, a well-rounded set of goals to drive you forward, to push you towards that amazing life that we all deserve. So here's a little bit more. So remember, I had in a couple of slides back, I had, personal growth, relationship, professional. So I broke it into those 5 projects based upon my yearly focus. So Karen Jens, that's me and my wife, right? So I have some very specific things that I'm doing every month for her and me, I guess. And it's the first one on my list because it's the most important thing to me, maintaining that relationship. We've been married for over 20 years, so maintaining that relationship is so important to me. Then there's my mastermind, my Pay It Forward mastermind, the first event in March, another one in the fall. There's my coaching, my 3rd level of certification is coming up. How many clients do I want? I'm going to standardize on my offering and then getting more active on social media. My real estate, how many deals am I planning on closing? Asset management, that's something I'm excited about. And then, I may want to sell some of my Albuquerque properties. And then finally, some travel. As I mentioned, I'm going to Europe. I'm going to visit my ski trip. I'm in spring trip to Tucson. I'm here right now. And then some other things, right? So basically, I label up. This sits on my whiteboard at home. I look at it every day, and I make sure I take the necessary action to get there. So what are your 5 projects this year that you need to work on? Then the next thing, this is literally what my calendar looks like. Everything is yellow is coaching, blue is real estate stuff. This is an extreme week here. There's usually not that many calls, but that's my calendar. It looks like this. So I know what I'm doing every single hour, pretty much. These openings in between is when I go and ride my bike or go to or do something else. But you can see it starts at 5:30 in the morning. I go to the gym these 2 days, everything else. So it's planned out. You'll also notice my Fridays are open. My Fridays are my sacred time. I'll still work, but I will not schedule coaching calls. I will not schedule any other meetings unless it's like extremely important. So that's what my calendar looks like. And then, I use Trello to actually manage my tasks and so forth. And again, this is not about the tools. A lot of people go and buy all these crazy tools to plan. No, that's not the point. Set up your plan, set up your goals, and then find some tools to support that. And I think just about on time I finished. So my website, Open Door Capital, this mastermind here, Paid Forward Capital, my email, and I'll put this in the chat window as well. So that, I think, is what I had to share. Tried to do it right on time, and love to take any questions, anything like that.
You did fantastic. Gosh, Jens, you just proved me wrong, that you just went a totally different way than I thought, and it was amazing. So a couple things here. The mastermind, let's talk about that. How do you get involved? What are you looking for? How would somebody, what would attract them to this mastermind?
Yeah, so, I've been part of Rod Cleve's mastermind. I think there's some other people here that are in there, but that's, he wants people that have, a lot of units are really experienced. This is awesome because you want to surround yourself with those people. But if you're just getting started, maybe you've done one deal, you're trying to look to do your first deal, we haven't found anything that's really out there to support people on that level. So we're creating and the reason we call it Paid Forward is that, I have gotten help from mentors and KPs and other things in my early part of my career. Now we're paying it forward in the sense we want to help the next generation of real estate investors to get the support, build the teams they need, really get some actionable training, figure out what a mastermind really is, right? So we have 3 days planned. 2 days is in the quote unquote classroom where we'll do all those things I just mentioned. And the third day we're planning either even go skiing because we're in Denver, go hiking, go to museums, whatever that is, right? So it's 3 awesome days of just finding building your team, mastermind, learn some cool things about underwriting, capital raising, how to brand yourself and everything else. So it's very affordable. It's only $4.99 to come for 3 days. And we have a great hotel booked. So I'm going to put it in the chat window.
Yes,
so
please.
Please sign up. We'd love to see. And it's going to be, I think we're targeting 75 people because we don't want 500 people there. We want it to be intimate and really get people to connect well. So.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. Now, what about your coaching, your high performance coaching? The little bit that you shared with us is very compelling. To me, it has to be a good fit. It has to be I feel good. I want to be able to, have a connection with you, right? So not all coaches are the right coaches, but if you heard something that Jens, it hit a chord in you that was like, hey, I want to know more about this. Jens, how does that work? Kind of bring us through a brief, is it a monthly? Is it a weekly? What would be the commitment?
Yeah, so the process, if anybody's interested, send me an email or get on my calendar. We have a quick chat about it. Then if we feel like it's a good fit, I have people fill in a questionnaire. I have a pretty in-depth questionnaire because I want people to spend time thinking about what they want. And then we'll get on an actual strategy call and really figure out if it's a good fit. If we figure out that it fits, I either meet with my clients every 2 weeks or every month, depending on the pace they want to move at, their availability, everything else they got going in life. But it's usually, once or twice a month for about 60 minutes. And we just go through this high performance framework, which is about energy, productivity, courage, influence, and persuasion. So it's a great model and it helps a lot of people. And it doesn't matter if you're trying to build your real estate business, if you're trying to improve the relationships, anything else, we naturally gravitate toward that. I only work with investors because that's my tribe, if you will. But I've helped people, and I have gotten people to realize that they couldn't move forward in their business until they solved problems at home. They couldn't move forward in a business until they overcame limiting beliefs around team building or money, or I'm not good enough, and all those challenges, right? So everything kind of comes together. And that's why I love this model. And it's created by Brendan Bouchard. Anybody who is familiar with him, he created the coaching. I'm just certified through his organization.
Oh, it's fantastic. Really amazing. I would share with you that I worked with a coach last year, you guys, and it was 6 months, and it changed my life. It is about getting inside trying to figure out what it is that's stopping you from making these changes in your life. And once you free yourself from that, it's just like a water can just flow like Niagara Falls to becoming, the person that you want to be. We can always make changes, but I would say if you are at all interested in making changes in your life, really consider working with a coach. And Jens is very dynamic and has been very successful with other people. And obviously he's walking the walk as well. So let's open it up real quickly to see if there's anybody in the house that has any questions.
I have a question.
Yes, Candace, did I see that you have a Zoom at 8 shirt on? I just
Yes.
want to make sure I see that.
Yes, Zoom
Yeah,
it.
look at that. Zoom at 8 shirt is in the
Look at
house. We've
that.
got
Where can we find that?
great. All right, go ahead, Candace.
So my question is, in time blocking, I like to do that as my personality as a creator. It's sometimes it can be difficult to transition gears from one project to, because I have obviously I'm investing in doing multifamily, but I also have my other business, which is the landscape business. And then I have other entities that I'm starting all, and I'm working on all of them at the same time. So how would you suggest the time blocking through the day? Because I do have to pay attention to each of them throughout the day. I can't like have a day for this and a day for that. I have to kind of do them all.
Yeah, no, I get that. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. So I guess the question is, figure out when your most productive time is. If you're most productive in the evenings or in the mornings or whatever, set that aside for the most kind of complicated tasks. So if you have to do something, that requires a lot of quote unquote brain power, make sure you block that time when you feel you're most productive or most mentally present. I work best in the morning because then there's not too many distractions. So I really focus on that first. So maybe that's an hour or two, and then allow yourself to, catch up on, your business or whatever that is. But really set times. And the other thing about time blocking, there's various techniques. One thing I really love is setting like a 50-minute time on my phone and work in blocks of 50 minutes.
50 or 15?
50.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I sometimes, if I'm a little bored or not really focused, I'll pick up my phone and start seeing if I can get distracted. If this timer is going off on my phone, still on my phone, like, oh, wait a minute, I still have 20 minutes to go back to work, right? So that's a huge thing. Don't check your email. Don't just, and if you spend 50 minutes working on that task and you need another 50, get up, move around, get some water, and come back and do another 50-minute block. That's a huge productivity hack there is setting that timer.
All right. Anybody else before we go into networking? I know you're excited about the networking. Anybody?
I can go.
Okay, let's hear it, Yannick.
So Jen's awesome presentation. Amazing. I loved it. Thank you very much for that. A lot of your concepts remind me of a book that I read. I don't know if you've read it. It's called The One Thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which I loved that book. So, a lot of the concepts have to do with the 7 circles of, what the 7 circles, whatever they are. So the one thing that triggered your success, what would you say it is? What was the one thing that you did that motivated you to reach this success in real estate?
I surrounded myself with people that I felt were quote unquote ahead of me. And I had 2 choices there. I could either try to level up to stay in that group, or I could flame out and go back to my IT job. And and really that was such a huge motivator for me, because I was seeing these people like, oh my God, this guy has done this, or she has done that. And I would deliberately surround myself with them. I would go to conferences, I'd go to events, but I created my own little I would set up a Zoom call for people. I was, hey, you guys are really, let's get together, and I would actually organize a Zoom call and I just invite people that I wanted to learn from. So for like a year or two, we met once a month, and these guys, and there was a couple of women, they pushed me to no end. And I was like, wow, if I'm going to stay in this group, I need to take some action. So that was my one thing that really made a huge impact on me.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Oh, that's great. Well, Jens, again, thank you so much for your generosity and your spirit that you shared with us. And I really feel connected to you and all of your success. It really is, to me, I really am drawn to it. So I appreciate it. And I hope that one day you and I will be able to work together as a coaching student. I just need to clear some things, but I thank you for joining us and really being part of our community here. And if there's anything that we can be doing for you, let us know.